I am back. And so one thing I want to figure out is, so we were on this view and I clicked timeline, and I guess we're having what happens here? How did we get here instead of actually going to the timeline view? So so the issue is that the row is clickable. So you row click, edit. So I think I could do a couple of things here. One thing I could do is I could get rid of the row being clickable and add an edit button. Or I can probably do something to prevent the propagation of the event. Too much to hope for. Let's see. Let's look at the link component here. We have link props, relative view, replace state. Nope. Okay. So what we do is okay, let's do it this way. Const navigate. Yeah, let's use navigate. And then we make a handle click. Yep. And then we get rid of this. And I guess I've already said that props should be button props, so I might as well pass them through. And I don't need this anymore. And I do want to omit things, actually. I want to omit label, correct, and on click, right, because I'm providing those myself, so there's no point in those being provided. And then we need to import from React Router DOM, use navigate. And so now we'll explicitly navigate us to this page. Come on, infer it. Okay, not exactly what I had in mind. What button doesn't know what on click is? Button props. Root component, button props. Come on now. Infer types using Copilot. Let's see what Copilot does. Okay. I mean, you could do that, or you could just use this. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so now, provide streams. if I click timeline, okay, this is the downside of having a button inside of a clickable row. You gotta make sure you click the button, and it still doesn't work. Interesting. Oh, and then it does. Okay, so one, I'm backtracking. This is a mistake. We're gonna go back to the way it was, and we're gonna do the other way because I think that's gonna be better, as in not awful. So row click. It says it can be string or false or a function or undefined. I guess it's gonna be false. There, now the row is no longer clickable. So if we click timeline, it takes us right to there and that works. All right, great. And if we want to get back to edit, edit button. There. Okay, so if we want to edit, we can go there. Oh, cool, that works. That's good. Then we go to the timeline. There we go. All right, that was a lot of work to get a coming soon page. All right, so what we want to have on our timeline, theoretically, I guess even not theoretically, we need to know what record this is about. So there's a hook called use params from React admin. Copilot is not going to get that for us. So let's see. Is it from React Router DOM or is it from React admin? I guess we're going to find out. There we go. Looks good. So we want to fetch some data, and that is going to be okay. Time for more documentation. We want to look up how to. Is it getManyReference? I think it's getManyReference. This is what I was looking at the data provided before, the one that's not implemented, the method that's not implemented, and I think this is the right thing. Where's the data provider for a list of records related to another one? All the comments for a post. So I think that's what we want to do, right? So we'll do fetch all comments related to the current record. So let's just borrow this. Right, so use getManyReference. Let's import that. So their example here is about fetching all the comments related to the current record, which is like a post record, right? So the resource is the target record type. In this case, it would be video clips, I think is what let's look at REST data providers. Let's look at resource map. Yeah, video clips is what we call it. And then target is the column inside of the target record that refers to the source. Yeah, so as in stream ID, there's a stream ID, a field in the video clips table, and that'll be our target. And then ID is ID. That's the identifier from that we want. So essentially, we want all the video clips with this stream ID. And then you can pass in pagination and sort and other things, but that's not required. And then there are also options, which I think is essentially what? Options for data fetching. So you can pass in like max pages, meta, callbacks, retry, a bunch of things. I don't think we need to worry about here. Enabled, right? So if we wanted to make it so that you have to do some action to the UI before the request goes out, so you can do that. I don't think we need that here. There we go. Data is possibly undefined. Yep. So let's we're just gonna add some kind of placeholder things here to show information. I don't think we need meta here. Yeah. Just gonna do something really big, right? To make this work. Handle refresh. Okay. And then we get a warning: getManyReference is not implemented. Right. So I just want a bare page so that I can test that the whole chain will carry through, and then we can come back and actually integrate the front end. As in, we can take the components that we built already from the original repository and bring it over to here. Also, can I rename the workspace? I'm kind of new to workspaces. File, save workspace as. Okay, so it's like a file. Okay. That did things. All right. Kind of concerned about. Can I rename the workspace? Probably not. I have to just like save it. Yeah, I called it glowing Telegram front end. Let's do that. Okay. There we go. That's gonna make more sense. Does that mean, yeah, our front end died? That's fine. I'll start it up in a second. cd dot rm glowing Telegram front end dot code workspace. Get rid of that other one. Control Shift P, run task. Start. Okay. Yeah, that's nice. This should be back now. In all of its loading glory. Okay. Can I give these shorter names? Open folder settings. Okay, so no. Folder. should learn more about how workspaces work. But anyway, so in our data provider, our wonderful REST data provider, I called it, we have a getManyReference that's not implemented. So the question is going to be kind of, so now we're talking about kind of what does the backend look like for this? So under the hood, we're using DynamoDB to store these records. Am I going to extend our existing CRUD API to support this use case? Maybe. I guess there's nothing to stop me from... So basically all the interactions right now with the CRUD API are using scan, which is not great. That's not true. Like the getting individual records are using like get, and updating things are using put, but all of the list operations are using scan. Now theoretically, if, for instance, we were if we were to know that the information that we were filtering for, we were only filtering for one thing, we were to know that there was an index, like a well, let's take a look at this. So the thing that we're interested in querying is this metadata table, right? So if we view table details, look at indexes, there are no global secondary indexes. If we were to create one, what would we do? So for us to be able to find all of the records, we would need to we want to be able to query based on the stream ID of these records, and the key here, either just a partition key or a combination of partition and sort key as a composite key, need to uniquely identify every record in the table. So could we do something like stream ID and then key? We already know that key uniquely identifies every record in the table, so we would be guaranteed that these would, in combination, also uniquely identify every record. So the reason you don't add a global secondary index for every combination of things is this right here. It costs more money. But this allows us to use this index to find all of the records. So we could do that. The flip side of this is that I could do a scan, right? So if we have an index, we can use a query. If we don't have an index, we have to scan the whole table. Okay. Yeah, I think I want to do this. So, there are some questions in my mind about how we would do this. So let's go into the backend. Let's go into our Pulumi infrastructure repo folder. And in, I guess it's in main.py is where we're doing all the DynamoDB table setup. So we have video metadata table. We would want to define, we would want to extend the attributes here. So we want to add a stream ID. as a thing that exists, and the type of it is string. And then global secondary indexes. Yeah. 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 I don't think we can do that. Let's, I don't think... So if we wanted to, we could do attribute projection of just only the keys or only explicit things. And that would be useful if we wanted to, I guess, check existence, or if you were gonna like make multiple passes or do something where we didn't just immediately want the whole record, right? In this case, our intent is to retrieve all the records with the stream ID. So we want to include attribute projections all, so that the query will have immediately available all of the table attributes. So if we create this index, does this work? Let's just test this out manually before I proceed further. It's been a while since I've created any indexes in DynamoDB. This shouldn't take too long. Roughly how many records are there? About 1900. That's representing, in S3 we have like 1900 video files that are each like 20 minutes long. Isn't that fun? How long does this take? That long. All right. So if we were to explore table items, we could do a query, and we could select we could refresh, and maybe select our index. There we go. And then we want to grab a stream ID. Let's grab an arbitrary one. If we run this query, okay, so that worked. So we found all the records with that stream ID. Here's the question, right? So we manually created the index, and I've added this same thing to Pulumi. So if I were to open a terminal over here in Glowing Telegram, hey, thanks for the follow.
Yeah, Cuke_McCuke just followed.
I'll let the the text to speech there take the pronunciation of your name. I hope that you Cuke McCuke. Thanks so much for the follow. All right, so infrastructure, Pulumi up. So what happens if the index already exists and we do Pulumi up? So this is going to update our attributes in global secondary indexes. Let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, and that failed, right? It already exists. So there's probably something in Pulumi I could do to like update its internal state. That's not too surprising that, hey, it tried to create something that already exists and it just bails out. The easiest thing to do is probably just come in here and delete the index. And that'll take a second. And while it's doing that, let's talk about what else we need to do to take advantage of this situation. One of the things I did the other day in CRUD API is I did some refactoring around how I did a couple things. One thing I did was, I remember saying on stream at one point as we were working on this, that there's a lot of redundant there's like I'm writing this code that is doing routing, and there's already stuff out there to do that, and we were using Axum in our other projects, our non-lambda stuff. I was like, I wonder if I could just use Axum here, and I found a crate called let's see, is it listed here? It's in our cargo. Axum AWS Lambda, and this provides some stuff to kind of make Axum play nice with basically letting us use Tower and using this Lambda layer to be able to build the service that interacts with the Lambda runtime. So I can just use this router, which is handy. And so this is how I've redone the... so for some context, if you haven't been here for the whole thing, the last couple of streams, we built this new Lambda to we're migrating our application from just running on my computer in Docker Compose to being using API Gateway and step functions and Lambda functions. And so we have an API Gateway handler that integrates to a Lambda function as a proxy integration, right? So it passes through everything under a certain route, any sub paths to the to this Lambda function, and so then we're interpreting those paths. I had to do something here where I'm saying there's some stage/records. So I'm essentially this is not looking at the stuff after the things that are captured in the proxy placeholder in API Gateway. It's looking at the whole path, which is not great. If I wasn't doing that, I could get rid of this part. But this works. So anyway, so one of the things that I did as part of doing refactoring, we had separate functions to be like, hey, take the string that you're passed as the resource type and turn it into the name of the DynamoDB table. So this was like a function, and then I had another one for like, what is the partition key, the primary key for the table. So I rolled that into this one get table config function that maybe, I mean, this is fine. This could be like configuration or data somewhere that we're looking up rather than having it hard-coded here. But for now, this is fine. And so each of these handlers uses this to fetch the table, like the information about the table that it needs to interact with for this request based on the resource. We're doing with state. Oh yeah, to get the config. I guess I could have it take the config here instead of app state in retrospect. So why am I looking at this? Why is this relevant? Well, the handler, specifically, if we're going to implement some kind of getManyRelated handler, it's going to want to know what the index that it needs to use is somehow. Which is going to if we have consistent names like this, maybe it's sufficient to say here are the fields that have indexes for each table. Yeah, maybe that's sufficient. So then this looks like indexes like that, and this will be like stream. We need to update DynamoDB table config to handle that as well. We're not going to do an option. Actually, this is going to be a vec of something. A vec of strings? String slices? I think that's how we verbalize that in Rust. Let's see, why. Oh, right. So it's like, why is it not in this file? Why am I not finding it? Right, because it's in main.rs. So the data type is defined here, and that probably breaks things. Oh, right, in our tests, yeah. Let's just say there aren't any indexes here. All right, that's good. And then if I save here, then that all works again. All right, cool. So if the resource is video clips, then there is a stream ID index that is usable. And otherwise, we're saying there aren't any for any of the other tables right now. And that is true. So then I would be able to create a new async fn get many related records handler. All right, here we go. Oh, that's fun. So it writes it as if it's documentation. Notable is main entry point, list record. Okay, and then it talks about a bunch of things that aren't the thing that I just wrote. So what is this function? And is this acceptable? So this uses the path extractor from Axum with our request path struct. And it anticipates it being used in a context where we are saying, here's the resource. And then it's looking for query params. And it's also getting state. And then it's getting the table config, like all the other ones do. And then it's looking for okay, right. So many query is a struct that I've already defined that takes it has in it a vector of IDs, right? So it's anticipating that you would pass in multiple IDs. So that's not right. And then it's calling DynamoDB or DynamoDB getMany with the IDs. So this is not right. What other? Okay, all of those are the same except for probably the comments down below. So I think at least the first part like at least through there, that's right. Then there's something here. And let's stop there. We'll also take the part where it's like getting the table config. So what should the URL? Actually, this could be a useful exercise. If we go up here to where we're defining the routes, maybe we should define the route first, figure out how this is going to work. So we're gonna have a resource. So, I mean, it should be a GET request. What are the inputs, right? And we've kind of already established that, right? Because we had to do this. So we know at least one is stream ID, video clips, and an ID, right? So there are these three inputs, right? So there is, just make a comment here. New input, new comment, indeed. Target resource, source ID, and target fields, right? So if we're after video clips, just say ID and target field, right? So essentially it's a filter that only works on a single field in the target resource. So we have a resource, we have an ID that is not the resource ID, resource ID, and a field in the resource. So what kind of route do we want to create for that? We'll start with this. So resource and then record ID, and then something like that. This is the name of the thing I made. Great. Okay. I kind of like doing it this way, where it's like, here's the resource, here is the field, and then here's the ID. Maybe just ID instead of record ID. And then what we'll do is we'll create a new struct. Request path with related field. Yep. Okay, there we go. And then I don't think we're going to take any query parameters. Instead, we're going to take request path with related field, because we've managed to stuff all of the arguments, all the parameters into that struct and into the into the route. All right, and then we have to save this here. Wasn't there something something that came up on stream long ago that I never really completely followed up on? There was something about typed paths. Let's go find the Axum docs. Was this something that was in the crate itself? remembering right? Perhaps not. Typed path. Axum extra. Yeah, this looks familiar. Is this something that was in Axum that got pulled into a separate crate? I don't remember. It being a separate crate when I looked at this before. Someone pointed me towards this many months ago, I guess at this point. Right, so you can put in the route information on the struct, and then you can just do typed get. Pretty cool. And you just say you take a user's member. There's definitely something to be said for this, because then well, the downside of this is that I guess for every route I would need to make a separate struct, right? Okay, maybe not. Anyway, it's good every once in a while. If I can remember some things like that and follow up. Okay, so how's this gonna work? Well, we're gonna need to make a new function instead of our DynamoDB module to do this work. Because we don't have anything right now that is really suitable. Lots of utility functions that want to collapse down, lots of things to convert between formats. Okay, so you know what would be helpful? An outline. I remembered. What's this warning? It's not red. Yeah, of course. So we have a bunch of different operations, right? We have list, get many, create, update, delete. I guess I want to create a query. We'll put it after list. We want to do tracing instruments. Do all that. Then pub async fn query. I'm surprised Copilot is struggling here. We're going to take this. And so table config is going to have the table and the indexes and partition key. Although we don't need the partition key here. What we're going to need is the index name. Maybe not. Maybe the Yeah. Wait. Go back. Indexed field. Probably want to just do assert a JSON value. That should be sufficient information. We want I think we want a list result. Or an error. Yes. It's interesting that not getting any status ready. Is it? Okay. Interesting that we're not getting any suggestions for this. Am I going to want... Oh, we can go back and add pagination, I think. Let's keep this really simple initially. So we'll do something where we're doing let's see, let me make some assumptions about how this is going to work. Query builder equals client. Something about a query? Yep. Then what? This is a legacy parameter. Great. Okay. Well, let us go find the docs for this crate. And query. All right, let's do it like this. Table name. Wow, very unresponsive. Usually I get pretty good autocomplete here for things. Copilot's not liking me right now. Index name. So Here's where we're going to bake something in. So we're going to say that it's the field name dash index. Leave that open. Here. So we're going to do format. What is it? Is it pound and like this dash index? Yes. Select attributes to be returned in the result. Defaults to all attributes. All projected attributes when accessing an index. Okay, that's fine. And we're not going to bother doing a limit. We're not going to do, like, what we should do here is we should have the client tell us how many records it wants. Then tell DynamoDB we want this many items, and then see how many items we get. Check to see if there's a last evaluated key, loop over, grab all the records that the client's asked for, and then return everything. I'm not going to bother doing any of that right now. We're going to keep it really simple. And let's actually go look at the Dynamo docs for how to do querying, working with indexes, working with items, querying tables, key condition expressions for queries. Okay, so we're going to do expression attribute names. Adds a key value pair to expression attribute name. So we're going to add pound K corresponds to indexed field. That's fine. Do expression attribute values. There we go. And this is going to be something where we want to do our JSON to, convert JSON to attribute value for our value. Because expression attribute values second argument is an attribute value. And so we need to, and an attribute value is essentially a data structure that includes both the type of the value and the value itself. And so we have information about type because we're taking the assert.json value here. So we're essentially aliasing both the key that we're interested in querying and the value so that we can then say key condition expression. And this should be something like pound K equals :V. And then we're going to say, okay, list result, and do some stuff. I'm going to call this query. What we're going to do is we're going to call send on this. this is going to return a result. So we can just do like async. Isn't it async? Or no, sorry, await. There we go. And then just the rest of the owl. But somehow it's been an hour again since my last break. So I'm going to take a break here for a couple of minutes. We're going to knock out the rest of this backend stuff, get it pushed up, and then work on the front end again. So be right back.